All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. Headed home from work. Oh, I better speed up. Probably shouldn't do this and drive, but let me go through the pictures. Funny is it, this is Sinwar. He is now dressed like a woman, hiding from the Jews who are trying to find him because this guy right here is the guy that came across the border on October the 7th and murdered all of those children, those helpless, unarmed children across the border there in Israel. That guy right there. And now, rather than man up and face the music, he dresses up like a woman. Do you know what this guy does to men that dress like women in his culture? This guy right here is the guy that anybody who goes against Israel, they're supporting. This guy right here, they have just gone through Gaza from top to bottom searching for this guy. Nobody on the face of the earth is going to help this guy, including Hezbollah. Nobody's going to help him. They're not going to hide him. He's stuck down there in Gaza, and they're going to find him. They just found a brand new hostage today, which is awesome. 52-year-old man. He's a few years younger than me, and healthy and alive. And they're bringing him out. Of course, they got to debrief him, find out what he knows, if he knows where Sinwar might have gone, or if he heard anything, and then they'll get him. But there's a passage in the Bible that talks about when those that are going to go to hell, they will see Satan basically like this. They will say, this is the guy that everybody feared. This guy right here that dresses up like a woman to hide because he's a coward, hides in caves like a rat because he is a coward, kills a bunch of children in Israel, unarmed children, because he is a coward. This guy right here is the one that created all this commotion. And it's going to be the same discussion about Satan in heaven. I'm sorry, in hell, when he goes to hell. The others will be like, this guy right here, this guy. That's the one we were so afraid of. That's the one that caused all this commotion. That'll be the same exact thing. So backing Israel 110% on this channel is all I will ever do. I don't want to hear about all the conspiracy theories on, these aren't the Jews. God did not make a mistake in 1948. Those people that are there are supposed to be there. To say otherwise is to say that we're not in these 70 to 80 years of Psalms 90:10. The people that are in Israel are supposed to be in Israel. They were brought there by God, and it was set up. And the end of Israel, as we know it, started on May 14th, 1948. It will end on May 14th, 2028. The moment that Satan breaks the covenant and goes into the temple and proclaims himself to be God. That's the lifespan of Israel. It says it right there in Psalms 90:10. You back up 3.5 years and you come to November the 11th of 2024. 11/11. I think that's where everybody's been seeing 11/11. You back up 3.5 years, you come to 11/11 of 2024. By that date, we have to be gone. Now, I know we're going to be gone long before that. I believe we will. But the Bible is true. The Bible is accurate. We might have misunderstood Psalms 90:10, thinking that that fly away had anything to do with the rapture, but it doesn't. That's the lifespan of Israel, 80 years. They will fly away to Petra when the end of the 80 years is up. Again, 3.5 years prior is 11/11, November the 11th. This is the day that Noah got off the ark after being on the ark for 1 year and 10 days. That was for my last video. Get that salvation all over you. Once it's on you, you can't get it off. Once you're saved, you're always saved. To say anything else is to minimize what Jesus did on the cross. He is that cup of salvation. Once you drink it, once it's in you, once the Holy Spirit resides there, you can't get rid of it. They will bring up passages to say that you can lose what you had, but they're talking about the passages relate to a different dispensation, not the dispensation of grace. All right, this guy right here, I spelled Sinwar's name wrong, but I love this guy. This guy, if you're not subscribed to TBN Israel, sorry, I still have a cough from the CDD. Oh, that stuff almost killed me. I wish I was uh, gone ahead of you guys early. I'll tell you what, that was painful. Still getting over it. I can't taste much. But anyway, is it Ayar Pinto? The guy's awesome. I just love his. Just love how he loves his country and discusses what's going on. And like I said in the last video, this is, or the video before that, this is the most humane war the planet has ever seen. Because if they had done that in our country, we would have carpet bombed every single innocent citizen in that country until we got to the people who did it. We wouldn't have strategically, surgically gone in and did what Israel has done. My hats are off to them. My hat's off to them for the amazing job they have done in protecting the innocent Palestinians and as much as they possibly can. Of course, this is war, so we're going to see stuff that we would pray doesn't happen. We pray for those innocent Palestinians, but at the end of the day, their leader, Sinwar, did this mess. So if you're not subscribed to this guy, please subscribe. It's an amazing uh, orator. I don't, I got this, I can't, I'm driving, so I can't really read this. If you guys want to take a screenshot and read this, I believe if I remember correctly, he relates the 12 years. Why 12 years? I don't remember. Oh, what was that? Oh, the 12 years of blood that she had, the woman that reached out and basically stole her salvation. She stole it. Jesus didn't offer it. Jesus wasn't aware of it. She came up behind him and stole it. And when you read, sorry, when you read in Matthew, Mark, and Luke about it, two of them, I think it's Luke and Mark, uh, she was just shaking, fearing what she had just done, but she knew she had to. She knew there was no other way. And she did. She just reached out and took it. It is there. It's a free gift sitting on a table. Go steal it. It's free. Take it. It's there. It's so simple. Don't let religion get in the way. Religion has convinced you you're too bad. You can't have this free gift stealing on the table. You're such a bad person. Then go steal that gift. You're so good. You're such a good person. You're better than that bad person over there that just stole salvation. You've earned it. Go take the present and leave something behind in its place. Leave $100 bill there because you're rich, and take that salvation. Which one is saved? The one that stole that salvation, just like this late woman did with 12 years of issue of blood. She is saved. The prideful religious person. I'm telling you right now, on a planet of 8 billion people, and supposedly I think it's 2 to 3 billion proclaimed to be Christian, there really aren't that many who understand the free gift, the absolute free gift available sitting on a table. Just walk up and take it. They are adding to it by doing all kinds of stuff. I've said this a million times. I'll say it a million times more. Accept that cup, drink from that cup, and do absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, get saved and do nothing. Don't do anything. But then this urge is going to creep in to go tell somebody else, not to keep yourself saved. Then you're going to get this urge to go get baptized. I want to. I don't know what it is about. I just feel like doing it. But it doesn't save you. There's nothing about that saves you, that keeps your salvation or guarantees your salvation. The only guarantee that any of us have is the blood of Christ. That's it. That's all. Like Aaron says, it got a minute. That's it. That's all. All right. See, that's been up there. That's the test. I can't really talk about it, but CD, yeah, it was rough. Every Christian that's looking forward, I'll tell you what, there's a planet. If I say, I don't know how many Christians are on the planet. I haven't looked at, excuse me, I haven't looked that up in a minute. 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion. I don't know how many Christians there are, but how many people do you know that are so looking forward to this event that it's like the kids in the back seat going, "Are we there yet? How much longer?" You know, and but it is coming. In my guesstimation, September the 11th, 2 weeks from today, I think we're going to see a rapture event anytime between now, right now, this very second, and 2 weeks from now, it's September 11th. Of course, I've been saying that for a couple of months. It did upset some people a couple of months ago, but now, guess what? A couple of months later, it's beginning to resonate. God began creating the planet. This is amazing to me. There's still people out there saying that today is the ninth of Av. Or actually, 2 days or 3 days ago, they were saying it's the ninth of Av. Then today, I see somebody saying, "Oh, it's the what did they? Oh, it's the first of Elul, the planetary alignment. It's the 28th." Well, how did you skip 3 weeks of life of days, 3 weeks worth, to wind up on a little one out of nowhere? No, a little one passed some time ago, and I hope I don't lose my ability to talk here. A little one passed some time ago. This is a little 14. It is the 28th. Today's a little 14. And on Elul 28, not 25, on Elul 28, God began creation. And if other people who do their research better than I do my research, of course, I've never worked out the 6,000 years, but they have, and they say that we are now, this year, come September. Now remember, creation began in September. On September the 11th, it began a little 28. The reason for this is because time was created on a Wednesday, and Thursday is the first day of time. There are two technically Sabbaths in a week. There's the Saturday Sabbath, and then there's the Wednesday Sabbath. One of them's a high Sabbath, and the other one's a Sabbath. And so, based on that, uh, what happens is Thursday, being the first day, winds up being on September the 15th, which is Tishri 1. Elul has 31 days in it, so it lands perfectly on Tishri 1. And you know as well as I do that I don't follow the moon as far as setting full moons, sliver moons. I don't think the moon has any role. I don't see how it could any role in the setting up of um, the months. I know the Jews are using it, and it is actually accurate every 19 years. It actually lands perfectly every 19 years. You can, and that is a, how would you call it? That is a confirmation. It would be a confirmation every 19 years that you know you're on the right date when the moon actually lines up, but it doesn't do it every year. It only does it once every 19 years. There are those who will cite, they will invoke the name of Enoch and then talk about the moon. There is no, the only conversation that I've ever seen in Enoch about the moon, it's in the luminaries, and it discusses the 19th year. That's when, but they will take that and say Enoch and then do it every single year. It just doesn't work. It can't work. There's only 354 days in a year if you use the moon. It does not work. I have a coworker whose daughter loves the planets, and she was telling me about the planetary alignment, and I was explaining to her, how many days do you think there are in a year? She's like, 365 and a quarter. I said, that is correct. I said, there are also 364 days in a year. That is also correct. And there is also 300, and I had a comment, there are 366 and a quarter days in a year. And you are correct as well. And I explained it to him. I didn't get a response back. I'm guessing they went to do some research and realized I was right. But all three of those are correct. There are actually 364 days in a year. There are 365 and a quarter days, and there are 366 and a quarter days. All three are correct. There is no way I could possibly sit here and explain it to you. You'd have to go do research if it were important to you. If it's not important, don't worry about it. It's not a salvational issue. But yeah, what does it say? Don't forget, tonight the moon will be visible from Earth. The last time this happened was last night. Sorry, I had to put that out there. All right, Rosh Hashanah is no longer in September. It is the beginning of creation. It is the beginning of the Jubilee cycle. It is no longer called Rosh Hashanah. I don't care how many people want to go in and make the statement that God doesn't change. God never changes. Really? God doesn't change his salvational program. He doesn't change his sovereignty or his perfection. He doesn't change that at all. He can't. He's perfect in every way. But God changed a day and let them fight it out for a whole extra day so they could win. God changed his mind when he thought to destroy man from off the face of the earth. He repented of that thought. God changed his mind when he was going to destroy all the Jews after they built the golden calf. As a matter of fact, the Bible is littered with God changing his mind. Now, did he actually change his mind, or did he let us know that he could do those things, but he wouldn't because he made a promise? From the very beginning, he made a promise. So, yes, God changed the head of the year. It is Rosh Hashanah. It is on March 17th, Nisan 1. That is now Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is not in September. I have a lot of respect for the person that does this discussion and says Rosh Hashanah is the same as Feast of Trumpets. It is not. Rosh Hashanah is on March 17th, Nisan 1, and it was replaced by a new feast that was created in Leviticus after Noah's flood in the time of Moses. That's when it was changed, and it is called Feast of Trumpets. Feast of Trumpets was actually named after he changed the head of the year in Exodus 12. All right. We're speaking to Moses, Aaron, and land of Egypt, saying this month, this is where he changes. He does this in Exodus 12. So I'm sitting here trying to remember. There is a passage where God clearly says that he changed. Not his personality, not his sovereignty, but he changed his mind. And lo and behold, I'm listening to Lisa Boyce. And what does Lisa Boyce read? But Daniel 2, is that 21? I can't, I'm bouncing around. And the and he, so let's read up a little bit above that, see who this is, who's doing this. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. Hold on, let me turn here. Alrighty. Oop. So I gotta turn around here. Gotta watch what I'm doing. And then it says, And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth in him. So it's talking about God here, and it clearly says he changeth. Anybody that says that is trying to associate God's sovereign, perfect, sinless personality with changing a month or changing it by 182 days or stopping the sun and changing that, changing the outcome of a war, changing his mind to destroy all mankind, you can't, there's apples and oranges. You can't relate the two. So I would just say to, pay attention to when you say God can't change, therefore nothing ever changes. This simply is not true. I mean, it's all over the Bible where he has changed things. I just talked about this. Did I just talk about this? Oh, the end now in 3.5 years after Israel flees at the destruction of Israel, their time limit is 70 to 80 years by reason of strength, and they fly away. They fly away by November the 11th of 2028, but there's still 3.5 years of tribulation. Remember, they go on for another 3.5 years. They're protected by God for 1,260 days in Petra. So there's the extra 3.5 years, and it lands on it's November the 11th. The extra days because we count inclusive, but it's November the 11th of 2031. From May 13th, 2028, and subtract 3.5 years, you land on, see the alternative result down there. It's when you add the extra day. Uh, is Monday, November the 11th, 2024. Again, 80 years. That's when Israel must end. Right there. May 14th, 2028. I might have said September 11th earlier, but I meant May 14th, 2028, Israel ends. That's the lifespan. It says it right there in Psalms 90:10. That's their lifespan. All right, where are we at right now, really quick? We are on Elul 14, August the 28th. We are 2 weeks away from the beginning of creation. Creation began on 9/11, September the 11th. You'll notice these huge events, these terrible things that happen. What happened on July 31st? It was a big event. That was off 16. That's the day the olive dove returns with the olive branch. Also, Elul 28 in 2 weeks from today is the third Pentecost. It is 50 days away from the second, and that was 50 days away from the first. This Pentecost here is when the Gentiles were being saved, and it shocked them that even the Gentiles were being saved. And there you have it. That's the date I'm looking at the most. Of course, anything could happen. I've been in a lull, quiet space here since about right here when the dove doesn't return back in August 6th, and we're up here on August 28th. It's been 22 days. I really haven't had much to go on because I really had hoped that all of the other researchers would have been correct. Today is not Elul 1. That happened back on August 15th. That is the day that Jesus began his 40-day fast and temptation by the devil. And so, like I said before, we're right here. We're 2 weeks away from the first day of creation. First day of creation, as we know, began on a Sunday. But time was created on a Wednesday. So, therefore, the first day of time, I have that up at the top. First day of time is a Thursday. It is the fifth day of creation. God could not make anything with the breath of life in it prior to making time. We cannot, in our current state, exist outside of time. We die instantly. We can't exist where God exists. The angels can't even exist where God exists. He created heaven and earth for the angels. They say the angels were created a millennia ago. I can't see it. Unless He created another heaven outside of a heaven, the angels can't exist outside of heaven. They have to exist in heaven. So, in my opinion, when we read in Genesis, the first day of creation, where did it go? I lost it. Oh, it's down here. The first day of creation, when he saw the light and the light was good, but he talks about creating the sun and the moon and the stars on the fourth day. What did he create here? I think he created the angels here. And by the sixth day, when he created man in his own image, after his own likeness, I am still lost. Oh, there we go. Sixth day of creation, he created man. After his own image, Satan was furious. And then God rested on the seventh day. So keep watching. This could literally go down any moment. If we don't see something by September the 11th, then of course, each and every day of creation, I will be looking at those 7 days of creation. Every day will be an unbelievably high watch day. I personally can't see us since I've heard so many good researchers say we're in a Jubilee year, that Jubilee ends right here on Tishri 1, September the 15th. This is also the 10th event of Noah. This is where he removed the covering. And then, of course, the 11th event of Noah. Where did it go? I lost it. Right there. That's the day, November the 11th, 1111, Heshvan 27. That's the day that Noah exits the ark. So, anywho, Repo Man 64. My hair's a mess. I gotta get a haircut. It's really growing out of control. Um, keep your eyes out. I love all the comments. Keep doing research. Um, most of the research is not similar to mine. I get that. Mine's solid. It's nothing changes with it. The Tishri one is always September the 15th. It never changes. So first day of creation. That's what really shocks me. In that on this day they will say today's the ninth of Av, and then 3 days later they're like, this is LO1. What did you just do with 3 weeks? You just said it was the ninth of Av. It should be the 11th or 12th of Av based on what you just said 2 days ago. So that's not how time works. We know the sun comes up, you give it a name. The next day it comes up again, you give it a name. And you can't make days just disappear or just rename days, you know? So you similar thing happens. And look, if you're following a timeline and you're following somebody who says this is the time, this is definitely the time, this is when, and then out of nowhere, they say, "Oh, and the flood happened on October the 31st." Wait a second. You just said this Heshvan 10, that's 20 days from now. You just said it was, 20 days earlier than Heshvan 10. How did you jump? Well, I mean, historically, we know that the flood happened October the 3rd. They'll do the same thing with creation. They will skip all over the place with dates, and then they'll come to creation. They'll say, "Oh, it happened on September the 11th." I mean, you can Google that. Everybody knows that. It happened on September the 11th. They'll say it's a little 25. They're wrong. It's a little 28. They're off by 3 days, but that's not a deal breaker, right? It's not too bad. But when you say, "Oh, it's the first of Elul," and then in 2 weeks from now, it won't be the 14th of Elul. They'll be like, "It's the 25th of Elul. This first day of creation." Where did you get 10 days from? How did you just ignore 10 days? So you got to be more solid than that. Um, what I suggest, the easiest way to combat uh, any timeline, if you want to refute mine, that's fine, is start your year somewhere and give it a name and go through your year. Your year must have 364 days in it. It must. I mean that's how many times the Earth spins every time it goes around the sun once. It spins 364 times. But they have to add 4 minutes a day to redirect the Earth back facing the sun because our planet actually points at a star every single day. But as the planet goes around the sun, pointing at that star would make noon, midnight. It just wouldn't work. So they had to put in those 4 minutes a day. And then if you tidal locked planet Earth, like the moon is tidal locked. How many times does the moon spin every time it goes around the Earth? Once. That's why. It faces the Earth the entire time. That's why if you viewed the Earth as tidal locked, it would be 366 and a quarter days. It's all in where is your point of reference? They're all identical. None of them are any different. And like I said, I could explain this to an adult and they wouldn't get it. I could explain it to a child and they would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So, but all three are the same. And there are no extra days each year. People are like, oh, then that means you had a day and a quarter over the last 2000. No, no, you can't do that either. Otherwise, spring at some point in the last 2,000 years, people would have been complaining that spring is in the fall. It's just simply not going to work. So, anyway, Repo Man 64, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody except the Lord into your heart. I'll get back on here if something happens like to Damascus, or the waves in the seas begin to roar and men's hearts failing them for fear what's coming on the planet. I think there's a big earthquake coming soon. So anyway, we'll chat with you all again later.